Hey, it's Jordan. I'm here in front of ALB1, the Skodak warehouse right outside of Albany, that in 2 days has another historic union election. And Heather, you've been leading the charge here. You haven't been working here that long, which is kind of interesting that you got in and right away kind of saw a lot was needed. Tell me when you started here, what made you want to organize a union?
So there was actually a variety of things, and I guess, I would say the first red flag was the fact that I had put on a safety harness and a vest for the first time in my life. Never driven a piece of heavy machinery, never wore any kind of equipment, but in 2 days after that vest was on, I was operating this piece of heavy machinery and raising a cage to retrieve items, mattresses, air conditioners, and heights of 25 feet. So to me, that raised a little bit of alarm bells. How is this happening? And then shortly after, I started to hear stories about the equipment breaking in the warehouse. I started to see more frequent ambulances. I started to hear injuries, people not getting approved for their short-term disability. And then, I had heard a story from a worker about him suffering a stroke in the warehouse on Thanksgiving, and he wasn't properly compensated, came back. So I started to really see workers that were in need of that extra support and bringing them together to unite against Amazon so that they could, get those better working conditions and those safer working conditions.
And from what I was told, Amazon seems to have more consultants here, union busters, than managers in some cases. Talk to me about the organizing and what you guys have been up against in terms of the union busting.
So, it was no secret when we started this journey that we were going to be up against Amazon and their $4.3 million invested into, the meetings and the propaganda throughout the warehouse. So, more recently, we've seen the warehouse completely flooded with operations managers from throughout the country that will be gone the minute the election is over, and these employee relations consultants and even HR managers. And they're claiming that they're here to talk about the working conditions and improving them. So you can imagine, that there was a little bit of information revealed when we had a fire and with the warehouse flooded with operations managers, employee relations, and HR, that there were missing fire extinguishers on some of the pillars. Right. How is that even possible? If you're here to help us with working conditions and to understand our concerns, how are you walking around talking to workers, asking them about their feeling on the union, which they're not supposed to do, pulling them into meetings, and you don't even see that we needed fire extinguishers when a fire broke out? And they, all of our concerns have fallen on deaf ears. So they've made it clear that they're really not here to help. And they've made it clear by examples like that.
I also find it interesting because Alabama had a fire. They closed down for several days. You guys have a fire. They closed down the day shift, but suddenly it's okay to come back for the night shift. So it seems like in Staten Island, they were like, no, you're coming back. So it seems like some places will close down. Here, they brought you back pretty quickly.
They did. And actually, I was on the phone the next day with our attorneys and OSHA. I'm expressing my concern not only with regard to the missing fire extinguishers, but the fact that even if the building was cleared by the fire department and local authorities, when I arrived when I was hearing feedback, I was concerned for the workers that suffer things such as, asthma, shortness of breath, heart conditions. What about the fact that there might be a lingering odor that could affect some of those additional health ailments? And then when I arrived on the property to check things out, the doors were open with the fans on full blast. If the building is safe, then why are the doors open with the fans on full blast? Because look right now, there's one door open with no fan. So I think that basically was also a heightened level of concern.
And talk to me about the warehouse. Seems like 500-600 workers. What's kind of the mood in there now? Because obviously there's signs everywhere, union, third party, and you guys want to make money and blah, 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 blah. I know, there's a lot of interest because you guys got the green light to hold an election. Do you think a lot of the people that have been on the fence are starting to gravitate more towards voting yes?
I do. I really do. I think that they're starting to really see through Amazon's true intention of shutting down the union. And I think that they're starting to also expand on their knowledge about the Amazon labor union that we work with together. I mean, this is a unity thing. So I think that they're educating themselves, they're having more conversations, they're learning more, and they're really reaching out to get the information to make an informed decision, which is incredibly inspiring and powerful. So I feel a shift in the energy, and I feel a shift in the right direction. Sorry.
And it's just crazy. I mean, you're hearing people with prostate cancer being fired. They're denying his unemployment benefits. You have somebody who probably had a concussion. They put him in a lift rather than an ambulance, which if he had a brain bleed, that delay
would have cost him his life.
I mean, this is $1 trillion company, and they're basically just penny pinching all around.
They're beyond penny pinching. We were penny pinching years ago. Before COVID, they were penny pinching, and now what they're doing is just plain negligence. They're not only neglecting to pay us, those wages and provide us those benefits, they're denying unemployment claims. They're denying short-term disability. They are denying workers' comp when it comes to injuries, leaving workers without pay for several weeks, if at all. And I think that that's in part. Amazon has created, kind of a strategic way of getting people out the door rather than providing them with the benefits that they're entitled to, up to and including if somebody is disabled, somebody gets hurt on the job, they don't accommodate. They don't pay the benefits. They'd rather just see them go on their way, leaving workers injured and suffering. And that they don't want workers in here. I mean, we're a manual labor company, right? So they see somebody is injured and somebody in need, and they'd rather force them out.
And can you kind of talk about, we keep hearing politicians, the media, the economy's coming back, a lot of jobs. Maybe there's a lot of jobs, but they seem to be kind of this hamster wheel of exploitation. You have people working multiple jobs that work at Amazon. You have somebody talking about doing radiation in the morning, then coming in for a 12-hour shift. Can you kind of talk about the quality of the jobs in this quote-unquote booming economy?
The quality of the jobs at Amazon? Well, here's the thing. Some of the people, I've been asked a question, well, it's so bad, why don't you leave? And my answer is for a couple different reasons. And number one, because people hear the word opportunity, right? And there's that little glimmer of hope. But what we're finding with that true opportunity is that workers are being passed over. Workers that have been here for 2 years and have invested into this company and have also put on a learning ambassador, learning trainer vest to train other employees, but not receiving any compensation for it. So if those learning ambassadors and those learning trainers and those process assistants are building value for Amazon and training workers to do the great job that they're doing, and they're being passed over for Amazon to hire a fresh out of college grad with no warehouse experience, doesn't know the people in the facility in which they work. Why are those people being passed over? But people hold on to that hope, right? They hold on. They've already invested that time. So if they go somewhere else, they will lose what they've already invested. So they hold on to that. And the other thing, if it's so bad, why don't you leave? There are workers who have to take the CDTA bus from Albany, Schenectady, and Troy to come to work. They can't afford to take an Uber, so Amazon kind of holds them hostage. This is really the only way because you can't afford to take an Uber to another job. So they hold out, and that's what, I think the atmosphere that we're feeling right now is that little glimmer of hope has now become a true opportunity to define what your future holds.
Do you feel like workers who might have never heard what a union was, maybe not know their rights, are starting to have kind of light bulb go off? You saw a young worker really passionately talking before. Yeah, you feel like workers are starting to understand more? They have rights?
Absolutely, and that's the incredible thing. Like I said, 7 months ago, the word union in here meant termination, and you can't say that here. But what we've seen over the last 7 months is workers educate themselves on the NLRA and realize that, wow, I can have a voice, I can have a say, and educating themselves, rising to the occasion, and really creating another opportunity, right? Another opportunity to have a better quality of life, to have a say in that contract. And that's incredible to think that 7 months ago, the word union you couldn't even say it here, and now we say it every single day, all day long with pride. And we're going to use that word and use that opportunity, that true opportunity that we, the workers, we brought it. You guys didn't give us the opportunity. We brought that opportunity, and here we are. So it's incredibly powerful to see that. And I'm very inspired by the workers that have had the courage to stand up and say, I get a vote. I get that yes or no. Whether you like it or not, Amazon, here we are.
And last question. Obviously, you've seen with JFK 8, even after they win, Amazon is fighting to recognize it. They're trying to overturn it. If you win, what do you think the domino effect is? We know that there's other warehouses now organizing, but another W on the board. Do you think that could have a real momentum shift in terms of seeing a lot more unionized warehouses?
Okay, so I just want to correct the first part. It's not if you win, it's when we win. Okay, when we win, it's going to actually change, right? I've been told the nation is watching you guys at ALB1 because we've already won. We beat the objections. We're getting recognition. So now we will demonstrate that we're not going to be shut down. We're not going to be stopped. We want that seat at the table. So when ALB1 workers win and take the power over their future, I think that across the board, it's going to continue to bring hope and inspiration to other Amazon workers to say we can do this. I mean, this little town in upstate New York, right? This little town in upstate New York, 900 workers have taken the initiative to stand up and say we're going to change the course of our lives and for other people's lives. So I think across the nation, when they see that we are this incredible community and we've continued to demonstrate that Amazon is not going to have this power over us anymore, I think people are going to continue that fight.